Hey guys, this is Neon Nezi, back again with another Mmeg video. Today, if you go into the event section and you click on this, you guys will see there's a new patch open now. Unfortunately, I cannot open this right here because it will then open up in my browser. I will exit the game and the video will stop. So, I will be looking at the units through this right here, the menagerie, and I'll have a link to the updates in the description down below so you guys can scroll and control the speed of the video at your own pace. I've done a bunch of these on Destiny 6, or now as you know it, Destiny Nights, and I have found that to work the best. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. First off, we have the water giant. So let's just find the water giant right here. Let's look at the evolved form, of course. It says that the second spell used to attack all enemies with a 40% chance of landing the bombs. But now, what it is now, I think this has already been implemented, has it not? Yeah, I think it has. So now all the enemies will actually have a 70% chance of taking the bomb, and they will deal detonation damage after 2 turns. And I'm pretty sure it scales off of attack, so that's pretty darn good. Second skill used to be that it would attack all enemies, decrease their resistance for 3 turns, and refill own turn bar by 30%. So how I would have built him is pretty fast. I would have used this third skill first to decrease their turn bars, refill my own turn bar, and then take this skill right here and then plant the bombs. I think this is a decent upgrade, simply because the HP and defense-based nukers, well, not defense, more so HP-based nukers, are really OP in this game. And for them to have implemented this is pretty darn good. It's coming out in 13 days, right? I just want to make sure that I'm not looking at some old patch notes. Okay, so next up we have the Earth Colossus, which is this dude right here. And his second skill used to be that it would attack all enemies and it would attack all enemies based on its own defense, and then have a 45% chance of stunning them for 1 turn, and then a 60% chance of decreasing their attack for 2 turns. Now it's pretty much the same thing, only that instead of just having a 45% chance of stunning them, it is now a 60% chance of stunning them. So just higher stun chance. Honestly, second skill increases their turn bar. So second skill isn't really a debuff skill, so I wouldn't really focus on too much accuracy on him. And because of this buff, I think there is even less of a need to focus on accuracy. So first of all, you never want to use glyphs with accuracy or resistance, in my opinion at least. So it's really best to just try to get the stats such as accuracy and resistance from the I don't know what you call it. It's like you equip 3 of them and you get the bonus effect. Pretty much through that. That would be the best way to get it. Fire Daimyo. I'm not sure if I said that right, but that is this dude right here. It's a serpent guy. So his third skill used to be that it would attack all enemies with an 85% chance of amplifying incoming damage by 40% for 2 turns. Now it is attacks all enemies and amplifies their incoming damage. So it's basically the same thing, but instead of 85%, now it is a 100% chance. So of course you still need accuracy, and it still needs to go with a resistance check, but basically it just has 15% more chance of landing. And furthermore, he will now gain the counterattack option, or the ability to counteract, for 2 turns. pretty good. I would say when it comes to an attacker, this guy has a HP drain, so he can even increase their harmful effects. So he's a pretty self-sufficient nuker in the sense that he can survive and deal damage and counter. So I think this just makes him so much more viable, especially in PvP. It makes him more of a threat. What's his base speed? 72. That's not bad at all. Then there's the Air Daimyo, whose third skill used to be it would attack everybody, and if you would crit them, then you would increase your own defense for 1 turn. Oh, defense and attack for 1 turn. Now it's that your attack will blind them. So that's a new effect on its own. Oh, whoops. This is the Air Daimyo. Sorry, guys. So this didn't used to blind before, but now it definitely blinds. It definitely blinds, and I cannot, from what I see, alright, just a quick thing, guys. It says it's coming out in 13 days, and it seems like all 3 units are getting a buff, which I'm super excited about, but at the same time, I'm just not sure if I'm doing this right. So if I am doing this right, that's well and good. If I'm not doing this right, then this is just going to be super embarrassing. But anyway, let's just get on with it. His third skill now has the ability to blind someone, the entire enemy team, for 1 turn. That's a new effect on its own. And then if you crit them, then you prevent your own HP from getting down to 0 for 1 turn. So basically you can't die. You get like the I don't know what you call it in this game. In Summoner's War you call it Endure. So it's basically Endure, but the Mmeg version. And you blind them, which is a completely new effect on this skill. So that's pretty darn good. If I were to build him, I would probably go Precision Frenzy, just to get the substats of accuracy and critical rate, and then go speed, attack, or crit damage, attack, or crit rate, attack, or however you can get the best stats on him. Of course, you want to prioritize critical rate because that does come into play, and I think just with the precision substat, you should be good off landing the blinding. His second skill used to be attacking all enemies and 25% chance of preventing them from receiving healing effects. Now you will attack them all, inflicting great damage. So that's basically what's happened. Your damage output has increased. You prevent them from healing for the next 2 turns, same as before. And if you crit, it what is that word? Execrate. I have been speaking English since I was like 3 years old, and I've never heard that word. What is that? Excrete? You're gonna poop them out? What? Nani the fuck? I don't know. But it's gonna that word them and disable 15% of their HP for 2 turns. So basically like the destroy effect from Summoner's War. I'm so sorry, guys. You guys must have been cringing so hard. I just really don't know how to say that word. Alright, so next up we have the Fire Necromancer. I have no idea why I just exited out of this whole thing. Let's find a Fire Necromancer. Where is he? Right there. Yep. Fire Necromancer. It's his passive that's changed. So his passive used to be if any attack is critical, then you have a 50% chance of terrorizing them, and you refill your own turn bar by 50%. This guy was super OP. Alright? No bullshit. I took in the team now. I was around like level 27 at this time. Didn't have the units that I had now. Didn't have the glyphs that I had now. But it was still overkill. I took a 4-man team on to take this guy out, and he ended up killing 2 of my teams. If I didn't get a lucky crit onto him, I probably would have died. And this makes a lot of sense. So I am doing this right. Now, it is, if you crit, then you have a 35% chance to terrorize them for 1 turn and refill your own turn by 50%. So the turn bar refill, here it says 40%, but the game still says 50%, so I'm not so sure about that. But even if that were to go down to 40%, it's still good to the point that you're still taking just so many turns. And when you terrorize them for one turn, I don't know what terrorize is, but I feel like you can't use a turn when you're terrorized. It's like haunted, right? I think that's what it is. So anyway, I'm super glad about this because he's still OP. I'd probably go double frenzy. I'd probably go double frenzy if I were to really just be like that guy. If you guys have really, really good glyphs, I would probably go double lifesteal just to keep going quick. So maybe lifesteal frenzy. So go speed, crit damage, attack. I mean, that's what I would do. But then his second skill skills off HP. So maybe go speed, like 3 HP and like 1 attack. Because this guy being tanky is definitely going to tilt people. So I take back what I said. Don't go critical damage. If you guys have the glyphs, then definitely go for it. But honestly, I think building him tanky with a little bit of attack to lifesteal on both of his turns would be the ideal thing to do. This is pretty darn good too. You hit everybody, and if you crit them, you curse them. That's pretty good. So, next up we have the Air Vampire. The only vampire I have is the fire one. He's pretty good. Air Vampire, your second skill. This is the air, right? Yeah, this is the Air Vampire. His second skill used to be that you would attack everybody and prevent them from healing for 1 turn and increase the duration of harmful effects on them by 1 turn. Now what it does is that it will attack them based on your own HP. So definitely build him tanky. You will prevent them. Okay, so basically now I think that he just used to have a pretty high HP ratio. I mean, he's an air defender, right? He's not an air attacker. So it makes sense that he would have higher HP with that title. So basically, he now has more utility. You can still build him tanky and still deal damage. If an attack is critical, grants self Phoenix Soul. Wow, that's insane. That is an insane passive. That's like Perna on steroids. Only with longer hair. And a sword. And a cape. And armor. And some boots. And gloves. And alright, you guys get my point. Alright, so next up, let's go on to... Wait. It says here third spell on the patch notes, but they're actually talking about his passive. They changed his passive as well. So it used to be that it would grant Phoenix Soul and instantly drain HP. Drain is 35% of own attack. Okay, so before, this used to scale off of attack, and this used to scale off of nothing. Now both of these scale off of HP, making him a more tanky bruiser kind of unit. So that's pretty cool. And this whole time, what they have done is that they have made attacking units hit harder and tanky units hit softer. So it really is trying to shift the meta. Because if you have a really tanky unit, and the tanky unit itself, is so hard to kill, but deals immense amounts of damage, that's just super unfair. Especially if it's a 4-star unit and free-to-play people can't get it. So the next up is Earth Imp, which is this thing right here. Apparently, its third spell was undefined, but now it is that after you skill it up or something, or no wait, I find now it has a skill defined. Oh, skill ups weren't defined. All right, so the skill ups weren't defined. Now, when you skill it up, the speed of all enemies for 2 turns becomes decrease the speed of all enemies for 3 turns after a skill up. Fire Shaman. I know that he's super fast. We don't really have to look into it. It's basically he used to have a base speed of 79. Now he has a base speed of 75. And actually, we do need to look at him because they changed his third skill. It used to be super OP, right? It used to be super OP. It used to steal up to 2 beneficial effects from... It's not even remove, it's steal. So he would take them for himself, and he would lower their turn bar by 50%. Now, he will only lower their turn bars by 25%, which I think is a lot more balanced. I mean, 4-star or not, this guy was verging on becoming the first 5-star off Mmeg. Ebonite, ebonite. I know that he was like the Camilla of Mmeg. Where is he? Whoop. Nazi blind. All right, found him. Ebonite. Yeah, he used to have a pretty darn good passive. So his passive used to be that he would protect himself with Mail of Thorns, damage an attacker by 10%. So every time anybody touched you, you would deal 10% of their own max HP. You would decrease their HP by 10% of their max HP, and you would heal yourself for 20% of your own max HP when you got hit by a critical hit. Now it is that he still can lower your attack when you attack. He can still reflect the damage. Alright, hold on. I'm talking way too fast. Basically, he still has a Mail of Thorns. Every time you touch him, he will still deal 10% of your max damage onto yourself, or your max HP onto yourself, but now the heal has gone down from 20 to 15. Honestly, I feel that is still pretty OP, but I'm glad that they didn't nerf it immediately to 10%, because that would have been way too much of a nerf and people would not have been happy about it. Next up, we have the Towerets. By far, my most hated units. If you guys don't know, Childish did a summoning video for me. I had 350 summons, and all I kept getting were these fire Towerets, or Toweret, whatever they're called. So annoying, but the one great thing that happened was that Childish now does a belly dance every time we summon a Toweret. So I think that on the plus side, I feel like that's I'll take that as a plus. Where is he though? I know that I have one of these. I'm so blind right now. Yo, where you at? All right, there you go. So Fire Toweret used to be that his third skill would team up with 2 allies, and if the enemy attacked has been haunted, then you would confuse them for 2 turns. And your second ability has a chance to haunt them, so that makes sense. Now it is that... Ooh! So now it is that you still team up with 2 allies to attack, but you don't need them to be haunted. You will still confuse them for 2 turns without the haunted effect. That's pretty good. Next up, we have the Water Toweret. Third skill used to be team up with 2 allies to attack an enemy, and then grant... Okay, so I think they're all the same thing. I feel that all of them would team up with 2 allies, but then the second part of the third skill is different. For example, the fire would confuse the enemy for 2 turns. This one is going to grant yourself counterattack for 2 turns, but now you don't need the haunted effect. So I'm guessing it's the same thing with the earth and the air as well. So now the earth one will mute the target for 2 turns, but they do not need to be haunted. And that was the wind. And the earth will poison them for 1 turn, but then again, they do not need to be haunted anymore. Next up, we have the Air Dragon. Was he OP? I don't know. Was the Air Dragon OP? I feel like he had a life steal or something. No. He was like Zeros. Right. So his second skill is what has changed. It used to be that he would drain HP of all... Yeah, he had a life steal too. And the drain would be... Oh my... Okay, so he would drain HP from all enemies during 2 turns, and the drain is 8% of their max HP. Now, he will drain the HP, ignoring defense, and the drain is now 16% of max HP. So the damage in sense hasn't changed, because previously it was drain HP for over 2 turns, so it's 8%, 8%, that's 16% in total. Now it's just a flat, boom, bam, straight up 16% uppercut to their faces, but it decreases their it ignores their defense. Not decrease, my bad. It ignores their defense. That is super, super OP. Super OP. Holy cow. He's fast too. Holy cow. He's fast too. He awakens into speed apparently. Oh, I would love one of him. You would want him to... He has a very high cooldown on this one though. But I feel like if you land this, it's basically GG, especially in PvP. So I would build him fast, maybe with haste and frenzy, maybe with some accuracy substats. Speed, crit damage, HP, or maybe just speed, and quad HP just to make him super tanky. It's up to you guys. The world is your oyster, guys. They're buffing a lot of units. I like it. They're buffing a lot of natural 4 stars. Next up, we have the Water Ebonite. His passive is what has changed. So his passive used to be that he would cast Disarming Bash upon any enemy who performs a critical attack against themselves. But now what he does is that he will still apply the Disarming Bash upon the enemy when they crit him, but now he's protected by the Mail of Thorns, just like his Wind Brother, and will deal 10% of the enemy's max HP onto themselves. That's pretty darn cool. Next we have the Water Zealot. He has received 2 changes. So this is a Zealot, right? Is he the Zealot? Yeah, he's a Zealot. Zealot. Water. His second skill, what he used to do was it would attack enemies based on his own defense, inflicting great damage, heal himself for 25% of own max HP, and a 50% chance of freezing them for 2. Is this one skill, or is that his entire kit? What the hell? And they buffed it. So now the only thing that's changed is that now it is then freezes the attacker. Before it used to be 50% chance of freezing them. Now it is pretty much a guaranteed freeze. Accuracy went up by 50%. That is insane. And his passive just got a heck of a lot longer. So get this. It used to be elemental advantage over... So he's like a Theomars, right? If an attack crits, he will then steal 35% of enemy's turn bar. Now, it is that he has the elemental advantage over other elements. If you crit, then you steal not 35%, but now it is a 40%. The patch note says 40%, but here it still says 35%, so I'm not sure. And then, at the end of every turn, you have a 50% chance to cast a Divine Shield that will fully protect you from the first attack received for 2 turns. Oh my god. This guy is super insane. He heals, he will freeze them, he inflicts great damage, Elemental King, steals turn bar every time you're crit. This guy does so much that I can't even count the utility that he offers on one hand. Holy cow. Absolutely insane. Alright, next we have the Rakshasa, which is this tiger guy. The air one is receiving changes to both of his second and third skills. So second skill used to be that he would team up with 2 allies to attack an enemy. Very bland, right? Now, he will still team up with 2 allies to attack the enemy, but he will lower the enemy's turn by 60% and then decrease the speed of all the other enemies by 2 turns. That is pretty good. That is pretty darn good. Crowd control, that's pretty good. Then his, it's a buff again. He used to attack all enemies, increased attack based on his own speed. So again, he's a speed-based unit. Does he awaken into speed? Yes, he does. So he's a speed-based unit. Deals damage, dealt on speed. and 75% chance of increasing their cooldowns by 1 turn. Alright, this was a 75% chance. Now it is just a 100% chance to increase the enemy's cooldown by 1 turn. He is pretty good. Like, it says air attacker, but honestly, it wouldn't be far off to label him as a saboteur. Next up, we have the Fire Succubus second spell, which, by the way, would deal way too much damage. Like, way too much damage. Like, first off the bat, my Earth Giant. Alright, let me just show you guys my Earth Giant right here. It's not the best, obviously. I'm still farming runes, right? I'm still farming runes, not runes, glyphs. I want to make them all purple, and they're not the best that they can be, alright? I still have a long way to go. But this is 18,000. Unbuffed, straight off the bat, would crit me and just kill me. Like, straight off the bat. Now, the damage multiplier has been reduced by 20%. So I'm not sure if that's going to make much of a difference, but I hope it does, because she was pretty darn OP. So next up, we just have a bunch of features. So for this, I'm just going to start farming a dungeon here. So we're just going to talk about these changes. Start this. Masaru. The fix is that for Masaru, the fix is evolve spells take increases attack based on account own defense. I'm pretty sure these have been translated from German, so the English is a little bit off. Evolve spells take increase attack based on account of own defense. So I guess the attacks now scale off of defense? I'm not sure. Crusader knockout increases attack based on target speed. So however fast your enemy is, that's how much damage you'll now be dealing. Ghost, unified values for all main spells. I have no idea what that means. Sorcerers, unified value for all main spells. I have no idea what that means. Fire Mauler, second spell after evolving ignores defense. That's pretty cool. Masaru Air, the monkey, a fixed description of third spell specifying what is this English? What is my English today? It specified the amount of drain that is based on the attack of the creature. Okay. Earth Daimyo removed an extra poison that was applied on the second spell. So apparently he was poisoning one more than he needed to. Fire Diva updated spell to show information about block revive. So apparently it used to block a revive, but it didn't say so in the description, but now it does. So overall creatures rebound. This applies to all of the units. As I was saying before, attack-based attackers were less used than HP-based attackers. This was making attackers too weak and HP-based attackers too strong. We buffed the base attack of all attackers in the game by 10%, and we reduced the damage multiplier of most, not all, but of most HP-based attackers. And this is for self and enemy. So what that means, guys, is that some of the nukers say that deals damage based on own HP, deals damage based on enemy's HP. In both cases, the multiplier has been nerfed. Then there is the TOT dungeon rebounds. They designed a few new stages into the boss to add more variety into TOT. Then we have glyph dungeons. We wanted to focus the difficulty and the strategy of the boss waves in the glyph dungeon. That is so true, because these trash waves take so long. So what they did is that the HP and defense of the first 4 waves have been reduced for all 3 dungeons, and the damages of the 3 wave bosses have been increased. That is fine by me. Fine by me. As long as I can get through. It didn't make them tankier. So no matter what, as long as your team is safe enough, or if you have a nuking team and your team is fast enough, you should be just improving on your time. I don't know when these go live, and I just hope that I didn't just make a huge idiot of myself by explaining the changes backwards. But anyway, if I did, please don't hate on me too much. I'm just trying to do the best I can. So what I want to do next, guys, and just tell me if you guys would watch something like this or not, is that I would start making a video or a video series just looking at units with a lot of detail, looking at from glyphs to their evolutions to just basically just everything. And I'm hoping that this would allow people like me who are new to the game to really focus on a specific path to build their character, to build their units, and to glyph them properly. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do like my content, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. If you guys have any questions at all, or any requests, please go ahead and leave them in the comment section down below. And until the next time, guys, Neon out.